In this episode, we'll be talking about two new books published this year, Advocacy Explained, which I describe as the parent book, and its accompaniment, Advocacy the Companion Handbook, a guide to advocacy and lobbying in Canada and the United States. They're separate and they're distinct, but they're related, and end up making a picture-perfect pair. Listen to this episode to learn more about these two new books available now.
Podcast starts now.
If you look at the cover art for this episode, you'll notice the darker green image on the left is the larger book, what I call the parent book, Advocacy Explained, which is part of the Explained series of books that includes podcasting and content creation and promotion. This one talks about the theory and history of advocacy, government relations and lobbying, and looks at how these practices are regulated or not by governments around the world. So this is a crash course for anyone interested in grassroots activism, advocating for ideas or issues, groups who seek to introduce new ideas or change existing policies, government and public affairs professionals, and even corporate lobbyists. This book rings in at about 350 pages or so. It has lots of features, including an index, frequently asked questions, a glossary, takeaways, to-dos and planning templates, and a comprehensive up-to-date bibliography that even I occasionally refer to. So that's Advocacy Explained, available through a lot of places, but primarily Amazon's global marketplaces, and this one is available in trade paperback and ebook. Then we have Advocacy the Companion Handbook, a guide to advocacy and lobbying in Canada and the United States, which is the lighter green image on the right. This publication helps put ideas into action and plans into momentum. It helps get the job done. So it's a practitioner's tool and a great accompaniment to Advocacy Explained. So they're related and work extremely well together, but work equally well as standalone books, depending on your interests and needs. Advocacy Explained is a page-turner, something that tells a story, while the companion is more of a reference manual. The Companion Handbook also features a glossary, frequently asked questions, and plenty of planning manuals and templates. It features customized journal pages with tips, so you can actually use this as a workbook. It has sections that outline national codes of conduct for lobbyists in both the US and Canada, as well as some contact information. Most importantly, a healthy chunk of this book features a directory of laws, regulations, and offices that govern lobbying federally in Canada and the US, each territory and state in the US, and each province and territory in Canada. It includes phone numbers and website addresses, and because the US tends to feature far greater variance from one jurisdiction to the next, there's also an up-to-date inclusion of explanatory notes about lobbyist registration fees and compliance requirements, which really do vary from state to state. This one is available only in hardback, as this is meant for wear and tear. It's something you use frequently in your project, your advocacy event, or overall in your job. It's compact, it's portable, so the Companion Handbook is available actually quite widely, from Amazon to Barnes & Noble, Walmart, and a bunch of regional and indie booksellers. Advocacy Explained, the parent book, was released in February of this year, 2022, and the Companion Handbook in April. When I received my own copy of the Companion Handbook, I was really quite jazzed to check out the quality of printing, binding, and overall appearance. I think you'll be pleased too. So both books are published by Henley Point, a Toronto-based company. If these books fit your interests or needs, check them out at your local online retailers to see if they carry them. And I hope these publications are interesting and helpful to you. We'll make sure to add plenty of links and related information in the episode notes. This podcast, Before, Behind and Between, is a production of Henley Point. You can visit stephenchristiansen.ca or henleypoint.ca for more episodes and archived content. This podcast is available on all streaming apps and major podcast platforms, including Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music. I'm your host, Stephen Christensen. Thanks for listening.
A production of Stephen Christensen. Podcast complete.